All right, everyone. Hello. Welcome to Kabbalah Explained Simply. I'm very happy to be here with you on this special, I think it's Q&A session. I had a whole session planned out, and then they told me, no, it's actually going to be a Q&A. So this is good. I hope that we're live on Facebook as well. YouTube, I know. I can see you and I can feel you. YouTube, I'm not sure. Facebook, I'm not sure. But we have some great people working in the background that'll help us out. And I hope that you can see us also on Facebook. Let's see. Please, guys, let me know if we're no live on Facebook. Where to go? Wait a second. I'm doing it. Give me a second here, everyone. Okay. Oh, it says live. Oh, no, it looks like it's live. Facebook is live. Okay. All right. So, all right. So, who are we? Where are we? Let's see who's with us. We have, I see some familiar faces. Julie from Salt Lake City. Sylvie, I'm sorry, from Rotterdam. Nice. Miriam from New Mexico. Ruth, of course, is there. Patty. Hi, Patty. Danielle, hello. Who else we have here? Morning Night from New York. New York's in the house. I like it. Myra from Ireland. Nice. Wow. The Karate Dog from Charlotte. Excellent. All right, so here's how it's going to work today. Today we don't have a special presentation. I'm going to talk to you about a few things, but this is your time. In light of all the changes in the world and this feeling of acceleration, it's like we all felt that maybe we just open it up and allow you to ask questions, to get involved more directly. So we have a great team on the chat. Hopefully, I know on Facebook, on YouTube, because I see it. Hopefully also on Facebook. And they will collect your questions and get all the questions to a wonderful doc. And I hope that you're not gonna hold yourselves back and really ask. You can ask about anything. This is Kabbalah Explained Simply. If you're here for the first time and you just heard about Kabbalah and someone sent you a link and said, hey, come here, great. I hope I can answer some of your questions. Don't be shy. Ask away. This is the sort of the doorway into our world. So ask any question you want. This is the most informal way you're going to have to just connecting with an instructor. I'm an instructor here in Bnei Baruch, in KabU, and I've been doing this for almost 2 decades now, and nothing gives me more pleasure than connecting with people's deficiencies. So whatever deficiency you have, whatever the topic is, don't hold back. Write it in the chat. Our team is going to get it to us and we're going to answer it. Also, this amazing team is going to be able to tell you about books that we have and about classes that open up and about the self-study courses and all those things that you can do when you're just starting out on this path. So, like I said, don't hold back, and hopefully this is going to be interesting and fun to everyone. I did want to talk about something, and this is something that we don't really talk about it much. We don't talk about it much in everyday life, and we don't talk about it much in our day-to-day studies, but not because it's not interesting, just simply because we focus on the work that we have to do on the spiritual path. But there's an idea that I'm sure every one of you here has thought about, and it becomes sometimes more pronounced. It sort of comes to the headlines, as it were, sometimes literally, when things happen around the world that bring it to the forefront. I'm talking about life and death. Life and death. These seemingly two separate worlds, two separate states that we are that we all know of. I remember from a young age. I remember my mom driving to visit my grandma, but then stopping along the way in the cemetery at the entrance to this to Haifa, a town in the northern part of Israel, and going to visit my grandfather's grave. And I think I was 3.5 or something, almost 4. And she wouldn't let me come in. I had to stay behind with with my dad or with someone else from an uncle or something, or cousin. I wasn't allowed to go in. He was like, you're not ready for it. Of course, I wasn't ready for it, but I was definitely curious about it. And then you grow up, and little by little, you're exposed to this concept of life and death. Sometimes through a personal connection, someone who dies. And you knew them, so it could be someone very close. For me, it wasn't the case. Even though I grew up in Israel, and I grew up in between, there were wars, there were terror attacks, there were accidents, all that, relatively protected from this concept of death. And it was interesting because the first time I really had to interact with it was when I lost a pet. That was very like a moment that really burnt itself in my psyche. It was a bird, a chick. I climbed. I love climbing trees, and I got up in a tree, and I found this nest with a single egg. And I think it kind of got dislodged. I didn't actually take it from the tree. It got dislodged, or it fell or something, and I managed to sort of rescue it from the tree. I took it home, and I decided I'm going to raise this chick. And sure enough, I gave it warmth, with a lamp, and I was ready. I read about it. No internet, of course, books and advice from the sort of biology teacher and all that. And I remember at some point the egg hatched, and this tiny helpless chick came out, and I fed it, and I watered it and everything. And for the first 2-3 days it was great, and then the 4th day I woke up and it was dead. It died for whatever reason. It's hard. And I was young. I think I was maybe 7 or 8 years old. I was like really young. And it's hard, the conditions were not ideal and everything, but I was heartbroken. I felt a part of me died. My mom took me, went on the field behind my house, we buried it, and I felt this line between the world of the living, the world of the dead, and it's something that, again, it stays with you, and it becomes this thing that you. This picture that you go back to, like, okay, what's happening in between these worlds? How come one moment something is here, the next moment it's not here? Where is it? Is it gone? Is part of it gone? What's gone? What stays behind? Is there anything like that that can explain it? This was really the sort of the theme that ran, and this question, I think it everyone probably listening here at some point in life had these questions, right? And they're natural, egoistic questions, because you're wondering about yourself. Where am I in this? What, I'm going to die one day, and I'm going to be not part of this world. Is this party going to keep on going, and I'm not going to be part of it? And where am I going, and what's left after I'm gone? And do I continue? Is there going to be reborn as a goat somewhere, or someone else? What's happening? And so I think everybody who has a point in the heart, who has this question about the meaning of life, is asking this question. I think it's something that comes to you sometimes when a close person is, you lose them, or they're fighting with a condition or a disease, or suicide or accident or something. It comes to your doorstep, and then but we don't dwell on it for the most part, healthy people don't dwell on it, because in Kabbalah we say a man is where his thoughts are. So I'm where my thoughts are. I don't want to be in that place. It may be exciting as a teenager growing up, right? This whole morbid obsession that we have. And I had that too as a kid. But at some point you grow up and you want to kind of focus on life and what you're going to accomplish, and you're not thinking about these things, not unless you have to. And in Kabbalah, in fact, we are told that on occasion, if you sort of lose direction, you lose the sort of this the zest for the search, for really finding the meaning of life, finding spirituality, connecting with this upper force, the Creator. If you lose that, no problem. Kabbalists say go to a cemetery, sit there for a while, and contemplate the day of your dying day, and that makes you think about those things. So we don't want to make this a morbid Kabbalah Explained Simply, but we do want to talk about this thing because there's a lot of misunderstanding about what is life, what is death, where are we in this. So I hope to clear some of that up today. But again, it will be driven by your questions, because again, I was told it's a Q&A. So again, I didn't prepare a fancy presentation or video. I was told it's Q&A. There's going to be questions. So ask questions. There's one question already. In Kabbalah, is the Creator nature? Is this pantheism or pantheism, I think. In Kabbalah, the Creator, or Boré in Hebrew, or Elohim, there are different names to this force, depending on the vessel that speaks of it. Because in Kabbalah, we only speak about what we attain, and Kabbalists only speak about what they attain. So they describe spiritual worlds for us based on their attainment of those worlds. They're not philosophizing about it. They're not making assumptions and then giving them names, fancy names that they like. No, the attainment sort of brings in you an impression, and you're like, oh, this is this. And it's interesting, by the way, it's just a side note, that people who attain different things, even if they come from different languages, different cultures, they can intuitively feel the names of these degrees of attainment, of these the correct vessel that can feel the light in it, get an inspiration, an impression from the light, because that's all we have in Kabbalah. We have a light and the vessel that can feel it, or vekli, light and vessel, and everything is an interaction between these two. So every feeling you have, every idea, every sensation, every perception you have of this world is simply a meeting between the light and the vessel. But there are so many changes, and every time the light enters the vessels and leaves the vessels, it leaves an impression, and that impression, you interact with that impression, and there's this constant feedback loop that's happening. So your vessel's constantly changing. Every morning you wake up, you have a whole world of desires that are motivating you. And we say all these desires, they make up your vessel. In fact, there are many vessels, many desires. In Kabbalah, the desire is the vessel. A deficiency is a vessel for the light. No deficiency, no light. No hunger, you can't enjoy the food. And in spirituality, it's even more so. It's not a maybe I can stuff myself, right? It's not like that. You have to have a deficiency for something, and then you can experience the light entering that deficiency, fulfilling it, giving you a taste of that. Let me just turn something on here. Hold on. Okay. So to answer Wild Dove's question, one of these impressions, we can't speak of the Creator, we can't speak of really what's happening behind the picture, because we have no attainment in it. Kabbalists, as I said, are very pragmatic people, and they only speak about what they attain. And so they say we can only reach a certain level of attainment. Even if we can attain everything, all the spiritual worlds, it will still not be the actual essence behind everything. We call that essence Atzmuto. Maybe I'll do some writing. Hold on a second. So behind everything, there's this thing called Atzmuto. And it's from the word Atzmo in Hebrew, which is kind of like himself. But we often translate it as his essence, if you will, which is not a great translation, but it's something. This quality is beyond our attainment. You can never attain it. It's almost like with your parents, right? You can never attain exactly what your parents are going through. You can only get to a certain level. When you have your own kids, you can begin to, extrapolate, right, from your experience onto their experience. You can say, "Oh, they must have felt something like that," but you can't really. You can never sort of rise to their level, right? And Kabbalists understood that very, very quickly. There's something that's behind everything, beyond everything, outside of this experience that we have, outside of that vessel, and this we cannot attain. But there is something that we can attain, and that something is the Creator, Boré. Boré comes from the word bo plus re. So this is like in Hebrew, come. This is like, okay, I'm going to write this here so you have it. So Atzmo is like himself. Himself. And this is, boy, is this. Sorry, no, not working. So this is come and see. Okay. So this is the Boré, Creator. There's also another thing, the word bria, there's another word that kind of is from the same root, which is bar. Not like a bar, but bar in Hebrew, which means outside. Okay, so the Creator is this quality that was able to create actually something that's outside of it. Okay, imagine that you have this. Imagine that you have this. Yellow. Imagine that you have this field of potential, infinite potential, simple light, right? No discernments in it. There's nothing you can say about it. There's no one to say anything about it. It's simply a field of potential. Okay, it's this thing. And what's outside of it? We can't even speak of that, right? So somewhere outside of that is this essence, Atzmuto, right? That's outside of that. We can't even. Then so this was the Creator, okay? The Creator said, I'm all giving. I want to give this good that I have to give. Okay? I have this idea to give good. Okay? This desire, if you will. It's not really deficiency. We don't speak of the Creator as having any deficiencies because His whole is complete. He's perfect. He's already. It's this. Right, this infinite field of potential. There are no deficiencies. Every deficiency is already filled. It's hard to imagine it, but try to imagine it. Okay, it's like you're a child in the candy store. Okay, there's no all that's missing for that child in the candy store is what? Appetite. Right? God forbid this child ate before they let him loose in the candy store. That's it. You can't. It's like it's the worst experience ever, right? You can't experience it. It's as if you were never there. But if it has appetite, if it has an empty place, now the candy can flow in, right? Same thing with the Creator. Creator is this big candy store, but it what's what? Someone that can receive that. So what does it do? It creates this empty space. Empty. You can even say it was In Kabbalah, we call it a black point. Why? Because everything is filled with light, but this is one place that was empty, and that was the act of creation. Okay, it created something outside, as it were, or rather, Creator had to sort of restrict himself, sort of make space, make an empty space, a vacant space, and that's really what was created. This vacancy, because there's no such thing. Creator fills everything, is everything. This is above and beyond time, space, and motion. Hard to grasp, but imagine this picture, okay? And it makes room. That's the essence of creation. That's what was created. Okay, when you think of creation, you think of, he created the stars and the highways and the trees and the cars and no, it created an empty space. And so into this empty space, now this empty space is something that we call a vessel, or in Hebrew, kli. Okay. I'm confusing the issues here. I'm breaking the pattern, so I want to stick to it. So it created a kli. That's what we call it. And in Hebrew, it's a vessel. Again, these are all Hebrew words because they best represent these qualities. And there's a reason. Like I said, these are not just arbitrary words. They're a result of attaining these things. There's a spiritual root behind every one of those words. And so this vessel is where everything is happening. The light is working on this vessel, is applying pressure, wants to fill this vessel, and everything starts to happen from that interaction. Light wants to come in, the vessel, and wants to grow the vessel, inflate it, as it were. And so our experience, our entire cosmos, space, time, motion, the Big Bang, everything that followed, all of that we call nature. So if I had to go to like another page and start, this whole thing, right? This is nature. And in Hebrew, ha-teva, nature. Like nature with a capital N. Not just everything. And in Kabbalah, you also sometimes speak of gematria, right? Which is the numerical value of things. And this numerical value, it was distorted a million ways. So we're not going to get, this is not a lesson on gematria, but it does give you a sense of a relationship between words and concepts. Okay, if they have the same value, they must be related somehow. So Elohim, if I had to write, right, Elohim is the same gematria as nature, which is 86, by the way, if you're into that thing. So all of nature, all of creation, everything that exists, everything that existed and will exist within a system of laws, from the still, the vegetative, right? So still rocks. This is like a rock. Imagine it's a rock. Okay, mountains. No, still vegetative, animate, right? And finally, the speaking degree, which is us humans, right? Everything exists on this, inside the system. And it doesn't simply exist. It's an experience of what? Of a desire, which is the only thing that was created, right? An empty space, a deficiency. I lack something. I lack the presence of the light, that feeling of fulfillment. And that lack, through an entire process, which we're not going to get into right now, but it's detailed very deeply, very meticulously in a book called The Study of the 10 Sfirot. I'll just write it here so you have it. Study of the 10 Sfirot, or short Tes, we call it sometimes in English, because of it's Hebrew, again, Talmud Eser Sfirot, okay? And that details the entire process of this cascading development of this vessel, and the cascading of the light, and the interaction between the light and the vessel, and the breaking of the vessel, and all the way down to the Big Bang, and to the development of this vessel and desire in our world, this physical experience that we have here. Okay, it was an entire process that we sometimes, where can I do it? We sometimes do it from here, we call it this A, B, and C states. If you took any of our classes, you know that. So there's a whole process of breaking from this state of unity where everything started, to the B state, which is where we are, this experience that we have of the physical world, life, death, all the rest of it, and then we are moving on a trajectory back up, where A and C states are exactly the same. The only difference is there's a human consciousness, there's a human desire, which is this quality that wants to be like the Creator. And this is where, so that answered that original question, and I'm going to go to the other questions in a second, but just to finish that big picture, because it all lends itself to the whole life and death discussion. In a way, the Creator, what did He create? He wanted to create this thing. This is what was important for the Creator. This Adam, okay, man. Mankind, man, woman. Don't get stuck on sex and gender. It's not it's a quality. Okay, Adam, and Adam from the word dome, which is what? Similar. I think I'm breaking the pattern, but it's okay. You understand what I'm doing. Similar to who? Similar to the Creator. This thing that we can't see or feel, right? Which is we exist inside of it. Okay, inside of this Creator. All right. So this Creator, this quality, which is all this potential to bestow, wanted to create something that can not only receive all this good and pleasure, but will be able to be like Him, somehow on an even keel with the Creator. Because if the Creator knew that if He's going to create a creature that's only going to receive unconsciously, then it's like He hasn't done anything, right? Just like monkeys. If He wants to create a creature that can receive consciously, that can feel all the pleasure, right? Because He wants someone that can acknowledge, oh my God, you're giving this to me? You know me so well, right? So He wanted that. The Creator wanted that kind of relationship. But He knew, in His great wisdom, that the minute you feel that level of giving, it's going to shut us down. Why? Because of this, what Kabbalists call shame. Okay, so this is where the concept of shame comes from. It's not shame of like, oh, I'm a thief, I got caught. No, that's shame on the lowest level possible in this world. But the spiritual shame that we're talking about, it's a feeling that represents the disparity of form between me, a lowly vessel that wants to receive, and the Creator, this quality that wants to bestow. Right? So in Kabbalah we draw it like this. We draw this vessel. Okay, sometimes we do a big minus here, and we have the light that wants to fill it. So this is the vessel, Kli, as we call it, and the light. The light that comes from the Creator, infinity, okay? And the minute the light enters the vessel, touches the vessel, it creates this short circuit here. Because once the vessel felt this opposition, this disparity of form with the Creator, he's this big plus, right? That just wants to give. I'm a big minus. I just want to receive. I can't. I feel immediately as I receive it, the pleasure, the fulfillment, I feel like I'm opposite the Creator. And that, I cannot stand that feeling. The vessel cannot stand that feeling, and it rejects it. Obviously, it can't actually reject the light. It's not like water that you take out. But I don't want to feel that pleasure. Okay, that was the sort of the action that the vessel is doing. This restriction on the feeling of the light filling the vessel. I don't want it. Not like that. I want to be somehow. You really want to give me. I will create a thing here that's called a screen. Screen. And I will use this screen to make a calculation. I can receive a little bit of this light, provided that I have an intention to give pleasure to you. I'm receiving it because you want me to receive it, not because I'm a pagan, I can't stop myself from eating, right? I'm receiving it because you really want me to receive. So I'm going to receive a little bit, as much as I can, to receive it while still maintaining the connection with you. That's what's happening here. This relationship that was created between the light and the vessel. The light, which is an emanation from the Creator, this quality that wants to give, love, giving, bestowal, and me, the quality that just wants to receive. And in effect, that's the only thing that was created. This vessel. Where is that? This vessel is the only thing that was created, this empty space, which grew, inflated, right, as the light was filling it, was entering the parting, all this relationship that was going on. It's still this one quality that was created, right? Nothing else. There were no separate qualities in it. There were discernments in it, but it's really one vessel, this one thing. That one thing later broke, shattered. Again, we're not going to get into that process, but let's just say that it was intentional. The Creator designed it in such a way that it will break. Okay, it was designed to fail, as we say today, right? It was designed to break. It was designed to receive more it can receive in order to bestow, right? Not with the right intention, with the correct intention over all the parts of the vessel, and it shattered. What does it mean that it shattered? So from this vessel that was here, the complete vessel, which we call it Malchut, which in English means like really kingship, kingdom sometimes, but it's basically the place where everything is under the control of this one quality. Okay, immediately you conjure the image of a king. Put that aside for a second. Those are all qualities. Okay, so quality of ownership, where the Creator dwells and holds everything. Right. That's the place. That's the place that can reveal that quality of the Creator inside the vessel. So the light entered the vessel. There was a process of that we call shattering. And the result is shattering, literally as you can imagine it. However, what shattered? Was there something physical? Was it actual vase that shattered? No. The perception shattered. The perception. No, I'm in the wrong place. The perception of one vessel broke. That's what broke. The perception. In other words, everything is still happening here, but we can't feel it. We feel it as here. We feel it as individuals living a separate world in a separate bodies, individual lives, starting discreetly from another, ending discreetly from another. We are born alone, we live alone, we die alone. Along the way we try to make some connection with others, but right? That's sort of that's the beginning of the confusion. So as people started to develop, so this process of shattering is what we in our world we can call the Big Bang. Okay, it's not a Big Bang theory, it's a Big Bang event. That light entering the vessel, breaking through this restriction, I don't want to receive the light, right? Filling the vessel entirely, created such a reaction that it shattered everything. It's like a short circuit, okay? Plus and minus without a proper mediator in between creates a short circuit. Except there were no protection fuses, there was no dampening mechanism, there was nothing. It was basically a complete shattering. That shattering was so strong that the feeling of the presence of the Creator, the higher worlds, that was lost completely. That was lost completely. In other words, we lost the feeling of being inside the Creator, surrounded by the Creator, one with the Creator, one with this whole system. We lost it. And we started to live these individual lives. It's still that one thing. It's still that one soul, if you will. But we're not feeling it. And so, from that moment, when people started to develop, the Big Bang obviously went through a process, right? Now we have the birth of space and time and motion. Why? Because it was filled with this egoistic perception that was growing in the vessel, right? This reception, this egoistic sensation is what drove the expansion of this vessel now. Because that's what happened. That was the essence of the perception. I'm receiving it for myself. I'm forgetting about the Creator. I'm thinking only of my pleasure for myself. I lost touch with the source of fulfillment of light. That's what happened here. So that egoistic sensation is growing, is expanding. And interestingly enough, it's like if you take a balloon. I don't have a balloon, so I can't really. Oh, wait a second. I can't make this. I'll make this. This here. If you take a balloon, okay, a little balloon like that, yeah, and you put two dots on it, right? Actually, that's the wrong kind of balloon. Let me redo the balloon. Before you inflate the balloon, okay? Okay, this, okay? It's like that. And you have 2 points. 2 point, come on. 2 point, come on. Okay, this happened before. You have 2 points. Okay. Let's try again. Okay, this has happened before. Hold on. Great. Okay, so something about the pen is not working. Okay, there it is. Okay, again, erase. So, balloon, 2 points. Okay, very close together. You start to inflate it. With egoism, receiving pleasure for myself, which is what happened. What happened? what happens? This balloon starts to inflate, and suddenly these 2 points that were very, very close are suddenly here and here, right? It's the same 2 points, the same balloon, but the sensation of space now is there. Distance, motion. Now, the feeling I was right there. We were so close. We were like, now there's this distance between us that we have to travel. You have time, right? You have space. You have all those things that separate the 2 points that are really one thing. That's a representation of this shattering, of what happened. And so now I live a life of separation from others, distance from others, separate experiences, and I'm trying to explain it, and that's what people have been doing. I'm trying to explain, trying to reconcile this idea that I have this feeling, this memory of this oneness. I see it in nature, but I'm not part of it. I feel separate from it. I feel like I'm born into it, then I die out of it. I'm not really one with it. And that was the root of all these very, very confused theories about body and soul, and maybe there's nothing, or maybe there's something but they're not connected, or I have to die in order to attain it. All these concepts started to swirl in our heads, and it was it was a fair confusion, no question. But it was confusion nonetheless. This attempt to define what's happening from within the egoistic vessel is what did us in. That was the root of our downfall. Because, and I'll say this kind of one thing, and then I'll take the rest of the questions that we have here. Because what's happening here is not that there are these bodies and they're trying to live a different life and each one is trying to get in touch with his own soul. No, none of it is happening. There is no spiritual world and corporeal world. No, there's only a spiritual world. There's only a spiritual existence. And right now we are feeling the lowest level of sensation. The most limited sensation. It's so limited. It's so disconnected from the light. In fact, there's so little bit of light. It's like Kabbalists call it a thin candle. We receive some light from the upper worlds that just enough to sort of enliven us. Let us run around, right? It's that much energy is in a spark of spiritual light. It's just enough to keep us going, to give us a sensation of life. So we sense it in this way. We're very limited. We're tied to the vessel, and when the vessel loses its desire, we are also our experience of it is also extinguished. But the soul does not disappear. The soul is always there, and we are always welcome to start this process of reintegrating with that soul, of making our way up, feeling more and more of that connection with the light. And we can do it to such an extent that as we move up this ladder, we can stop feeling the lowest level, really let go of it, like our teacher used to say, like taking your clothes, throwing it in the laundry, right, at the end of the day, but you're still there. The clothes are gone. So these are just clothings of the soul, except that you identify with the clothing because that's the only thing you feel, instead of being identified and feeling the wholeness of the soul. And where is that soul? Fragments of it are all around you. It's everyone around us. They're all parts of your soul. Your entire being is spread before you. Your entire subconscious mind is spread before you. All you have to do is reassemble all these pieces, and you'll begin to feel the complete picture of your soul. There is no death. It's only the ending of this state, this very limited state. And as long as you're stuck in that state, you're not feeling the completeness of everything else. So this is, again, this is just a very broad sort of outline of where we are. Let's take some questions, and hopefully we can unpack it. And there's also a special Zoom after this live session, and we will take more questions there. So please join us there as well. Again, even if this is your first time and you've never been to a Kabbalah, it doesn't matter. Come ask questions. We'll try to take it. So let me take some questions. So I start from the bottom, I guess. Whoever's doing the document, or from the top, or the top, the bottom. I don't know if this is Ruth or Ruth. Ruth, type for me if this is the top or the bottom. Start with one. Okay, so Milosh is asking, when someone dies, is there an essence to him, some unique quality that reincarnates, not in a collective sense as collective soul, but specifically an individual level? Good question. So we didn't bring the topic of reincarnation. Why? Because it's another totally misunderstood concept. The idea that you, as you, are taking your essence, you Milosh, and now you're going to leave here somehow, leave this state, this energetic state, and go to another place, and then come back as Milosh the cow, or Milosh a Chinese girl, or Milosh an old American guy, or whatever it is. That is a very, again, self-centered, egoistic concept. As long as, and this is important, I didn't really get to that. I will answer that, and hopefully a few other things along the way. So check this out. As those points fell down, right? We're like zooming in on this shattered state, right? As these points fell down, each one is a little egoistic microcosm. Okay, it's me, this is my world, that's how I'm feeling it. I'm really feeling it relative to everything else, right? There's like this everything else, and then my experience of it, okay? There are no really, 8 billion individuals. There's me and all of my fractured desires that are spread out. And this is true for each one of you as well. If you're listening, if you're here, if you exist, if you're not in my head, then you have also a similar holographic experience, as it were, of the entire system. This is all egoistic, meaning you're perceiving the system in this way, right? To me, how can this bring me pleasure? How can every one of those points that I perceive as outside of me can bring me pleasure, right? That's how I perceive life and reality and everything. It's all in this. You can see the problem here. This is all of that, and I'm very, very limited. I'm very, very small. It doesn't matter how much space I make inside of me, how much room I make, how much I clean my house, whatever. Very, very small. But inside here, there's a feeling, there's a point. Kabbalists call it the point in the heart, right? Point in the heart. That point in the heart is what's left of that original intention to be in connection with the Creator. Okay, that's really the essence of being this living, conscious, independent human that can be like the Creator. Everything else up until that moment, everything else, if I go to all these levels in creation, all these other levels, they're not, no freedom of choice, no really real consciousness of things. Even this human is only human in potential, okay? Is not there yet. So you're also a human in potential. We can become human. This can become all of this. But in order to do that, he has to do something else, which is what? He has to change the direction from trying to bring everything in as to what can bring me pleasure into out. Okay, how can I fulfill you and 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 you, everyone. Okay, by changing direction, I'm beginning to connect with these points in the heart, because those are the points that are like the Creator, that are outside. When we form these connections, something interesting starts to happen. Quite amazing, actually. We begin to form this network. Imagine everyone is doing what we're talking about. Everyone here is listening, is doing all of that. We begin to, and again, keep in mind that there are millions, billions of other people here all around, right? Doesn't matter. Those desires who have this awakening, who feel that point in the heart, the one that wants to bestow, not bestow. Spirituality, I want to be in connection, in contact with that force of bestowal. They begin to form this network between them. And in this network, you can begin to feel, you begin to feel, maybe we'll do this color, feel the upper force. That's when we feel the Creator, because we're like Him. Okay? That's when we become like Him. So until you do that, you only exist in this temporary clothing, right? This piece here. And that piece, when that desire, when it gets refined completely, as we call it, meaning it can't want any longer, or the prospect of fulfilling itself in its current form is diminished to zero, that desire is we say it gets refined. Okay, it's almost like becomes transparent, translucent, very thin desire. It's still a part of everything, but now all the information that was accumulated, that stays. It's called reshimo, or in Hebrew or in English, records. Right? The records remain like a spiritual DNA that's being passed down. Yes. But that identity that you have for yourself as yourself, that identity was rooted, was founded on that outer clothing, that egoistic clothing of that point. And therefore, it grows and becomes strong and thick, right? And full of presence as you're born and you grow into this world. And then it sort of dies out as you grow older and your desires get smaller and less powerful, weaker and weaker, and you want less until you're ready to go. I'm not even talking about people who die abruptly and accidents and wars and all that kind of stuff. That's another thing. I don't even know if we have time in this session to get to it, maybe in the Zoom session. But until then, as long as you're stuck in that outer clothing, that lowest level, you're subject to this ebb and flow of desire. And what's left of you is really just a record of all these things, which you will later have access to. But this you that we're talking about, that is what we're after. The real you, the real root of your soul, which is always there. So the root is there, it's ready for you. Your place in the soul of that initial vessel, we call it Adam HaRishon, that is always there, ready for you to make contact with it. But it's not to be confused with your identity, because these identities are attached to your desires, and your desires, your egoistic desires, have no eternal existence to them. They're only temporal. Okay, let's see if we have time for more things. Am I going from below up? Ruth, try to give me some numbers maybe, just so, okay, I'll try to move even faster. Does it mean, so Zid Hamruni is asking, does it mean that when we ascend we will remember memories of our previous life? Yes, you will. This whole concept of past, future, again, it's only there because you are stuck on this level. As you ascend, as you are able to make contact with the soul, contact with all these other points, you come out of yourself, you begin to exist on a higher level. We have 5 worlds, 5 partsufim, 5 souls. That's 125 degrees of ascension. That's how Kabbalists broke it for us. Okay, so each time you go higher, you're able to sort of assemble more and more of these memories. And guess where they live? Right all around you. They never go away. We have thousands of years of human evolution all existing in this vessel, because it's only one vessel. The only thing that was created, again, I'm going back. The only thing that was created is this vessel. That's it. Everything is happening within the experience of that vessel, right? It never goes away. It never went away. You simply are having a limited experience of that vessel. And that's why you say that you have a body and maybe you have a soul. You can't feel it. You're still connected to that, to the root of your soul in that original vessel. You have a place right here, mister. This is Zid. And each one of us is like that. And it feels the whole system. And so there is no life and death in the usual sense. There's only the diminishing, the weakening of desire. And as long as you're attached and associated and have no other way to any other place to go to, no other vessels to go to, then your concept of self sort of dies and gets reintegrated in the forms of information into the next incarnation of the vessel. Now, these incarnations happen all the time. Someone asked about it earlier. We constantly reincarnate. Every day you wake up with a new set of desires. Every moment you're changing, you're reincarnating constantly. Except, again, when the bigger vessel that is associated as you, when that diminishes and reaches zero, then the reincarnation happens on a sort of a larger cycle, ticks off, as it were. But it's all the same changing of desires, changing of egoistic desires, all collectively moving, evolving toward a place where you feel, again, connected to the Creator. All right, let's see if we have time. It's 9. 9 Israel time, meaning it's 2 p.m. Eastern. Okay, I'll do a quick blitz of some questions, and then we'll go to the Zoom, and we'll continue on this Zoom, okay? Fair enough? Let's see. Okay, so Giselle, world equals the universe was created, and if so, was humanity scattered in other planets, and how to envision a common work to reunite into Adam? Good question, Giselle. Kabbalists make it very simple for us. We're here on this planet. As Stephen Hawking said, right? We were like this speck of life, really unexceptional, on this, one planet orbiting an unimpressive star in the least popular side of our galaxy, which is one of billions, right? For some people, this helps focus our place of work. Other people feel their nothingness or their sort of smallness in the system. However you want to turn it, that's okay. I will say this: the answer is it's either or. Okay, there's no in between in this case. In other words, either you think that there's no one else, all of creation is down to you. You need to do the work. You need to wake up. You need to reunite all these pieces, and then you'll see that we're all one vessel with the Creator filling it. It never left us. Only your perception is what moved away, and you finally brought it back, and then you'll see everything. Or you can say, well, the world is teeming with consciousness and entities and all that, but you simply have no vessels to perceive them. So you can say they're on another planet, or you can say they're right here but on another level. It doesn't matter. For you, it's equally far away. Okay, so you're as close or as distant to another entity, consciousness, alien being, whatever, however you want to see it, as long as you're stuck in your egoistic vessels. Okay, and when you start to come out of those vessels and acquire new vessels of bestowal, your perception changes and you begin to reassemble more of those, and you'll see that actually spirituality is teeming with life, but it doesn't have to. You have to go anywhere. It's like radio waves, right? They can all be here, except if I'm not on the right tune to the right wave, I'm not catching all the music. Global citizen. Will humanity only find peace and harmony when every soul is internally healed? It's a bit of a new agey way to talk about it. Humanity will find harmony and peace when each one of us awakens to that idea that we are parts of one whole, and that we are egoistic desires to receive, as Kabbalists call it. And if we change our intention from reception to bestowal through certain work, you need the work in the group, you need the help of the upper light. All of that is what Kabbalah teaches. But if we do it, then gradually all of humanity, all these parts, which are parts of you, really will reassemble and will feel as one whole. All the contradictions, all the oppositions, all of that will all fit nicely into this one vessel. Malchut of Ensof, we call it, Malchut of Infinity, if you will. That's the one vessel that was created. So that's what needs to be here. It needs to be corrected. We say corrected. There's nothing to heal, meaning your experiences, past experiences, transgressions, iniquities, insults, harms, all of that. They're all part of the collective experience. There's nothing to heal in that sense. All you have to do is rise to a higher level of bestowal, and then you see how those things all complement each other. And Lynn, when we go outside the house into the public, are all the people we see parts of the inside of us? Yes. If you begin to look at the world like this, you'll already be in a different place. But I will just caution you that it's hard to simply flip and switch and do it. That's why Kabbalists do it first in a small group. Let's choose 9 other people that I will say are part of me and I'm part of them, and I'll try to come out toward them. They'll try to come into me. All those, right? These concepts, which are they sound like nice words, but let's actually try to do it in a small circle and then expand it and expand and expand it. It will be very difficult to simply go out because you won't be able to contain all the horrors of the world. Can you contain the war in the Middle East, the war in Ukraine, the terrible things happening in Africa, and famine here and floods there? You won't be able to contain it. You won't have the vessels for it. For you, they all seem like big contradictions, threats to your sense of your little egoistic vessel. All right, one more, and then we have to finish. When we have become like the Creator, do we then want to create a vessel? Do we want to become like us? That's a good question. I don't know. We don't know. Kabbalists tell us that there are there's like 6,000 years. We talk again. These are qualities, but there's some correspondence to human years. So if you look at the Jewish calendar, 5,700 something, right? So 6,000 years is we have to complete the work on this level. We enter the 7th millennium, where we begin to work with the Creator, if you will. Again, I'm making it very, very simple, almost like child play. But this vessel that can now work with the Creator. And then you have 3 additional millennia, because there's 10 sfirot. There's additional 3 other sfirot, 3 other millennia that we have to go through. And what happens there, I don't know. And what happens beyond that, I don't know. Maybe this whole thing gets folded into one little thing that's part of something much bigger. I don't know. Nobody knows. Kabbalists don't write about what they don't attain, and they can't attain it because that's part of the general correction. So let's do our work and try to actually find out. And the beautiful thing is, we are at the time that everything is accelerating. We're moving in that direction into this new kind of work between us. Nature is encouraging it. The Creator wants to see us doing it, if you can speak about it in this way. Everything is moving in that direction. We just need to all begin to want it, to talk about it, get involved with it, study it, engage with others around it. That's what is needed right now. And we do it here in Kabbalah is exactly what we do. That's the only thing we do. So we hope to see you more on Kabbalah Explained Simply, and we'll see the rest of you on the Zoom. And Leo, was great to be with all of you. Great questions, and I'll see you a few weeks, I guess. Take care.